Hello again, welcome back. I am Sam. If you are an electrician in South Africa and you're thinking about working in New Zealand, then I made this video just for you. I'm sure you've seen my other video where I just talk about New Zealand in general, you know, the beauty of the place, the people. But this video is for electricians. I'm going to share with you 25 things electricians need to know if they want to work in New Zealand. By now I'm sure you already know the basics, that the voltage is the same as South Africa, 230 volts. The hertz are the same, 50 hertz. Just a quick disclaimer, please do not work on any electrics if you are not authorized to do so. In this video you will learn the jargons that we use, the standards that are different, installation techniques that may differ from South Africa, and we're even going to talk a little bit about looking for work. Are you ready? Let's go! Number 1. Cables. In South Africa we use twin and earth a lot. Here in New Zealand we use TPS. Kind of similar, only difference is it's always multi-stranded. Even if it's 2.5mm, it's multi-stranded. Our 2.5mm twin and earth is solid core. Pretty cool, huh? It also says the amount of meters, so if you buy a 100-meter drum it will show you 72 meters left, 71 meters left. And here is strap cable. The yellow one is called strap cable. We use it for two-way switching. TPS is what you will be using all the time, not twin and earth. Number 2, plug sockets. This is a standard New Zealand plug socket. That's how it looks. There's the cover for it. There's your 3 conductors, live, neutral, earth. In South Africa, Crabtree is the most common brand. Here in New Zealand, PDL, I would say, is the most common brand. Also, you need to specify horizontal or vertical because everything flips 90 degrees in the vertical one. So when you go to your suppliers, decide whether you want a horizontal or a vertical socket outlet. Here's another type of socket you will use all the time. It's called a surface socket. We use it for connecting lights. Here we have an outdoor socket. It's an IP53 rated outdoor socket. Then you also get a starter socket. A starter socket is quite common for in office environments. So those are some of the sockets you can expect to see in New Zealand, quite different to our South African sockets. Number 3, jib and nogs. So before we go any further, it's important to understand that houses here are completely different. It's not brick and stone and cement and concrete all the time. Our houses are a bit different here. They are made of a timber framework. They have jib, which is drywall. Here are these pink planks. They're called nogs or studs, depending on which way they run. Studs are vertical, nogs are horizontal, and the jib goes over that. So your cables are running in between that space, in between the jib. To get your cables through, obviously you need to drill holes into the nogs. A good way to drill holes through the nog is a cordless drill and an auger bit. That's what an auger bit looks like. So you'll be using your auger bit and your cordless drill all the time. Which brings me to point number 4. Cordless. It's important to have all your cordless tools in order. Cordless drill, cordless impactor, grinder. A lot of people make the mistake of coming from South Africa with crates and crates of all their heavy corded tools. You would rather want to have cordless tools in New Zealand. You're going to stick out like a sore thumb if everything's corded around here. Cordless is the way we go here. A good brand to go for is Milwaukee. That's the popular one. AEG, like you see here, is very good value. Makita is also quite popular. So get your cordless game going. Number 5. Wall boxes. Here's your most common one. It is called a flush box. You will be using plenty of flush boxes. You attach it to your nog or your stud. This is a mounting block. Almost like your PVC extension box equivalent mounting block. This is an acoustic box. It also has all sorts of qualities. Has these metal wings that sort of spread out and grip into the wall. And this thing, my favorite, a C-clip. If it's too late to put in a wall box, you can cut a hole in the jib, put the C-clip inside, and voila, you have a way of fixing a switch or a plug socket just using the C-clip. Number 6, DB boards. So in South Africa, we've got Samite or CBI. Those are the black and white ones. Those are quite popular. We also have DIN rail ones in South Africa. Here, there is no Samite. We only use DIN rail or other European standards, like the vertical comb bar. It's actually quite smart. Once you've used this, you question why we ever did it any other way. Number 7, earth leakage. In New Zealand, it's not called an earth leakage. It's called an RCD, residual current device. Every 3 breakers must have an RCD. So you'll have plugs, lights, all on an RCD. Plugs, lights on another RCD, and so on, and so on. Alright, number 8, catenary wire. This is not an electrical cable. This is a cable you suspend from one side of the ceiling to the other side when you're building the place, and you attach each end with a turnbuckle. This catenary wire, this is the green one. This is the thinner one you will use for IT cables, Cat5 cables, Cat6. Then you get the thicker black one, which is more commonly used for electrical cables because it's thicker and more durable. Number 9, JBoxes. Look at this. You open it, it already comes with connector blocks. So you take your TPS, join your 3 conductors, and then you simply take a wire cutters or a side cutters. You put your cable inside it, put the lid on, tighten it, and there you have a perfectly acceptable joint in a JBox. Number 10, flexible conduit. Not really much I can tell you about this, I'm sure you know. The only difference is that we don't call it sprag like we do in South Africa. We call it flexi. Flexible conduit. It's not called sprag, it's called flexi. Okay, number 11, heat shrink. So in South Africa, say now we're crimping a lug onto the end of a 35mm conductor. If you're really professional, you'll actually go and put insulation tape over that part of the lug when you're done crimping, you know. Here, none of that even matters. We don't do insulation tape. We do heat shrink, and we use a blowtorch to shrink it. You simply heat the heat shrink. What do you think? It insulates the lug way more professionally. And then you get an even more durable type of heat shrink called Raychem. Raychem is more durable for like an industrial joint on a cable tray somewhere that needs to last a long time. You will do your joint with ferrules and then put Raychem over it. Okay, number 12. Let's talk about emergency lighting. In South Africa, I did not see a lot of emergency lights. Here in New Zealand, it's a big deal. So the whole idea is, if there's a blackout or something goes wrong, an earthquake or whatever, and there's no power, people need to be able to get out of the building. They all have batteries inside them. They sense there's a loss of power, they kick in. Number 13, cable rods. In South Africa, we like to use a fish tape, you know, to pull cables through conduits. We pull our GP through using a fish tape. Yeah, that's not really a big thing because it's all TPS running in drywall. So we often use cable rods. You can see there's a variety of different ends, one with a hook, one with a little other thingy. I'm sure you're going to love cable rods. They are a fantastic invention. If you're really missing your fish tape because you've got to pull cable through conduit, we do get this thing, the snake. The only snake you'll find in New Zealand. Alright, number 14, suppliers. In South Africa, we like to go to Voltex to buy our electrical goods, or ARB, Light Glow, all sorts of other independent places. Here, I would recommend J.A. Russell's and also Active Electrical. Those are popular ones. You pick up a basket, you walk through the aisle, you chuck in whatever you need for the day ahead, and then you go to the counter and sort out the account. Pretty easy. Also in South Africa, we've got Builders Warehouse. Here we also have the equivalent of Builder's Warehouse, but it's called Bunnings Warehouse. So I'm sure you'll be making plenty of trips to Bunnings. Number 15, the Blue Monkey. This is just almost like a water level. You can trace around it with a pencil onto the jib, so you can cut out a nice hole for your socket outlet or your switch. Alright, let's talk about some terms and jargon that you will hear on site. Number 16, Smoko. Smoko means lunch break. I think it came from the word smoke break, then they called it Smoko, I'm not sure. So if it's 10 o'clock in the morning and your apprentice is like, hey, it's Smoko, you need to respect that from 10 till 10:30 is Smoko, and then from 1 till 1:30 is also Smoko. Number 17, a Sharpie or a Vivid. Something to always have in your tool belt is a Sharpie. It's a permanent marker. I think it's called a Sharpie because the most popular brand of permanent marker is called Sharpie. Keep one in your tool belt at all times because you're going to use it to write on TPS all the time. Alright, number 18, hot water cylinder. I already covered this in my other video. It's not called a geyser, it's called a hot water cylinder. Just get the terminology correct. If you say geyser, they won't know what on earth you're talking about. It's a hot water cylinder. Number 19, high vis. What does high vis mean? It's this luminescent clothing you wear so that people don't bump into you and drive into you and reverse a forklift into you. High visibility clothing. I'm sure your company will hook you up with some high vis as soon as you start working there. Alright, number 20, Sightsafe. Before you can be an electrician in New Zealand, you must go on a Sightsafe course. It's just like a 4-hour course, and they teach you all sorts of basic stuff like a ladder, for instance. You all know you cannot stand on the top step. You also cannot stand on the second last step. If they catch you standing on the second last step, or even worse, the last step on a site, they will most likely kick you off the site. So you will learn all this sort of thing at the Sightsafe course. Once you've completed the course, they will give you a little card, the Sightsafe card, to show you that you're valid. You have to have this on you if you want to enter a site. Number 21, site inductions. A site induction is just something the builder or the building team will ask you to complete before you can step onto their site. They will either give you a piece of paper where you must tick things and read things and fill in some questions to ensure that you understand everything, like where's the emergency exit gathering, who's responsible for disposing waste, what are the risks of being on site. They might even let you just fill it in on a tablet like a Samsung Galaxy. You go through all these things, it takes you 15 minutes. You have to do a site induction before you can start on certain construction sites. Okay, number 22. Here's one that's also quite important, office admin. Yes, you're not working in an office, you're out on site, but there are some administrative things it's important to get right. Timesheets is an important one. Here you have an app on your phone where you enter your timesheets. Your boss may prefer it if you enter your timesheets daily, because if you wait till Sunday night and then try to remember everywhere you were in the last week, you're most likely going to enter an inaccurate timesheet. Oh, and here are some other terms that might just catch you off guard. Your receptionist might ask you about your WOF and your RUC and your Rego. And you're like, what is that? WOF is warrant of fitness. It's basically roadworthy. But here we don't just do roadworthy when we sell a vehicle, we do it once a year. RUC is road user charges, which is a tax that certain vehicles pay. And your Rego is this piece of paper in your windshield. In South Africa we have the round license disc, here it is square. So that's just a little bit about admin. Keep your admin under control. It'll put you in a very good light. Alright, the EWRB. In South Africa we had the ECA, the Electrical Contractors Association. Their equivalent in New Zealand is the EWRB, Electrical Workers Registration Board. You must register with them before you can work as an electrician. The wireman's license you had in South Africa doesn't mean a thing here. When you pass your trade test in South Africa, however, that is internationally recognized. That still counts for something. you will need to go onto the EWRB website and submit your application for a license. Alright, number 24. Job hunting. I received a lot of questions in my previous video. Hi, I'm an engineer, I'm an electrician, I'm looking for work, where do I start? Yes, it's very overwhelming looking for work. Personally, I can say LinkedIn doesn't really help you, and I can say Seek really doesn't help you at all. What really helps is face-to-face. Arrange interviews, send out CVs, talk to people, network, face-to-face, face-to-face. If you can get work in South Africa already, it makes your life a lot easier because you don't have to wait in some expensive hotel room while your visa is getting approved. You could just walk into a job. Very few get that right. Most people, however, have to come here and just look for work. Electrical companies in New Zealand used to do like an interview over Zoom or over Teams, and then eventually they got tired of it because so many South Africans get the job and the company goes through all this effort to get them over here, and then when they get here they just go and work at another job, or they don't pitch at all. And then I was told a lot of electrical companies were like, that's it, we're not doing this interviewing online anymore. They must come in if they're serious. Face-to-face is always the best. However, the good news is I'm pretty sure there is demand for electricians in New Zealand. Some people exaggerate. They were like, my cousin went there, he's an electrician, they snatched him at the airport. At the airport they hired him. Okay, well, if that happens to you, great. I haven't heard of too many people getting snatched at the airport. Hope it happens to you, but there's a good chance you will have to look around a little bit before you find work. Also, don't expect these huge salaries. Have the right attitude. You must just take what you can get. You're electricians, you're hardworking, you're resilient. It might not be easy, but I'm sure you'll come right. Which brings me to my last point, number 25. Proud tradesmen. Here in New Zealand, electricians are respected and valued as professionals. There's no hierarchy here. We're all equally important. And that's what we are. We're important. Us tradesmen have an important role in society. We build, we maintain, we make things safer for our fellow humans, and we literally light up people's lives. Which is why I made this video, so that we can make this world a brighter place. That's the end of my video. I know it's a lot to take in, but we're electricians, we're resilient, and we make things work. Best of luck to all of you. Thanks for watching.